It's finally here, the full time lapse you've all been waiting for. This is the complete journey of Davin painstakingly restoring the legendary Ford 351 Cleveland engine, pulled straight from the barn find de Tomaso Pantera that Tom and Brian discovered tucked away and long forgotten. What started as a dusty, frozen-in-time machine has now roared back to life in a way that only pure passion, grit, and old-school engine know-how can deliver. This restoration has been a long haul filled with setbacks, surprises, and a whole lot of elbow grease, but hearing that engine crackle and growl to life again made every single moment worth it. The de Tomaso Pantera itself is a cult classic, an exotic Italian body mated with good old American muscle, a union that was both unconventional and beautiful. But this particular example had clearly seen better days. When Tom and Brian first rolled it out of the barn, it was covered in years of grime and dust, with rust creeping into every corner and a seized engine that hadn't turned over in decades. The Ford 351 Cleveland V8 inside was more of a relic than a runner, showing all the signs of sitting untouched for far too long. Enter Davin, our resident engine whisperer. This wasn't just another teardown and build job. This was a resurrection. The project kicked off with a full assessment of the engine. Davin methodically disassembled the 351 Cleveland, cataloging every piece while checking for cracks, warping, wear, or any signs that the block might be beyond saving. The heads were pulled, and it was immediately clear that corrosion had done a number on the internals. The pistons were stuck, the crankshaft was locked solid, and the cylinder walls had visible rust pitting. But if there's one thing you should know about Davin, it's that he's not one to give up easily. After the initial teardown, it was off to the machine shop. The block was hot-tanked and magnafluxed to check for hidden cracks. Miraculously, it passed. The cylinders were bored out to clean up the damage and ensure proper ring sealing down the line. The crankshaft needed to be polished, and the journals were checked and ground to spec. Meanwhile, Davin went to work sourcing new internals, forged pistons, a performance camshaft, roller rockers, and upgraded valve springs to support some added grunt when this thing eventually hits the pavement again. Every part was cleaned, measured, and prepped with precision. This time-lapse captures every critical step, the block being honed, the cranks sliding smoothly into freshly lubricated bearings, the rhythmic tapping of piston rings being installed, and the heads being torqued down with practiced efficiency. Watching it all come together feels like watching a master at work. There's something almost meditative about seeing an engine reborn bolt by bolt. The camshaft was chosen carefully for street performance while still preserving that classic Cleveland character. With a slightly lumpy idle and plenty of mid-range torque, it promises to give the Pantera the personality it deserves. A new timing set ensured reliable valve train action, while a high-volume oil pump was installed to keep everything well lubricated under stress. Davin also upgraded to a modern ignition system for better spark reliability and ease of tuning. As the engine started to take shape, it was painted in its original Ford blue, a small detail but a meaningful nod to its heritage. With fresh gaskets, seals, and torqued fasteners throughout, the 351 Cleveland was beginning to look, and feel, like new again. But no restoration is complete without a proper fire-up. That moment where months of work hang in the balance. With the engine mounted to the test stand, fluids added, and exhaust manifolds in place, Davin gave it the green light. The starter clicked, the engine turned, and after a few heart-pounding seconds, the 351 Cleveland fired up with a bark that echoed through the shop. That first fire-up is pure magic, smoke curling from the headers, oil pressure building, and the idle evening out into that unmistakable muscle car thrum. It's a sound that says, "I'm back." For those of us watching, it was goosebumps. For Davin, it was vindication. Every hour of labor, every scraped knuckle, every part's delay, all of it was worth it. But this isn't the end of the story. Now that the engine's running strong, the next chapter begins, getting it back into the Pantera. There's still bodywork to address, interior restoration to tackle, suspension to rebuild, and a whole host of finishing touches before this barn-find beauty can finally return to the road. Still, hearing that engine run was a major milestone. It's the heart of the car, and it's alive once again. Throughout the video, you'll catch glimpses of the challenges along the way. Broken studs, hard-to-find parts, machining hiccups, none of it stopped the mission. If anything, they made the result that much more satisfying. This wasn't just about making an engine run. It was about honoring a piece of automotive history and bringing it back with the care and craftsmanship it deserves. What makes this build especially meaningful is the blend of cultures represented in the Pantera itself. Its Italian design meets Detroit muscle, A collaboration that was daring and unconventional in the 70s, and still feels ahead of its time today. The 351 Cleveland was the perfect engine for that concept, with high revving heads and serious low-end torque that delivered performance on par with many exotics of the era. Bringing that engine back to life isn't just restoring a car, it's reviving a legend. As you watch the full time lapse, you'll notice it's not just about the technical work. It's about the process, the passion, and the purpose. There's a reason people get emotional about engines, because they're not just machines. They represent possibility, freedom, and the pure joy of driving. This restoration captures that spirit in full. Of course, none of this would have been possible without the teamwork behind the scenes. Tom and Brian's discovery of the Pantera was the spark. Davin's expertise was the fuel. And now, thanks to the whole crew's dedication, that spark has turned into a flame. So what's next? Stay tuned. The Pantera still has a journey ahead of it. But the heart is beating, and that's the most important step. From barn dust to bench dyno, this engine's comeback is a story worth telling, and hearing it roar to life again is the kind of moment we live for. If you're into restorations, engine builds, and the kind of mechanical storytelling that connects us all through a shared love of the machine, this video is for you. Watch every bolt tightened, every part placed with intention, and every problem solved with creativity and skill. This is more than just a time lapse, it's a tribute to craftsmanship, perseverance, and the power of bringing something back from the brink. Make sure to drop a comment to let us know what part of the build blew your mind the most. Was it the teardown, the machining, the fire up? And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We've got more restorations, more stories, and more amazing machines coming your way. This was a long journey, but it was a worthwhile one. The 351 Cleveland lives again. And soon, so will the Pantera. See you on the road.